I was so sure someone was going to ask for the Highway Patrol to be disbanded or something like that, but it didn't come up. Now, welcome members of my Fresh Faces panel. We've got Sophia Li, a businesswoman and former political advisor, and Justin McGovern, a very capable lawyer. Two fresh faces I'm sure will impress you today. Now, this week, welcome to the program, guys. The Senate disallowed a Labor regulation to override the requirement that super funds publicly disclose the donations they make and any payments or kickbacks that they provide. Was this the right thing to do from a policy perspective, Justin?
Yes, absolutely it was. This was an important step to ensuring that super funds are accountable with what they do with their members' money, and ensuring that there's transparency about where they make political donations is absolutely the right thing to ensure. And this is a significant defeat for the Labor Party, who are trying to hide for their union mates.
And Sophia, was it the right thing to do from a political perspective to work with the Greens to get this outcome?
Well, Amanda, when I was a former government advisor, I heard the word transparency used by the Labor Party over and over again. In fact, if I would have had put a coin any time that the Labor Party mentioned transparency, I think I would have saved enough money to actually put down a deposit for a house. Now, I know that the superannuation disclosure regulations has been put in place by the coalition government when we were in government. And so I believe the coalition's position is quite consistent. From my understanding, that the Greens party sort of opposed the regulation because the Labor backflapped on the bill. So to me, I don't know where the Greens have come to that decision. Whatever it is good for the Australians, and we deserve more of the transparency than the Labor government is willing to give us.
Moving on to a different topic, and I agree with you on transparency entirely, Sophia, too few academics seem genuinely prepared to stand up for their beliefs and for the right of others to hold beliefs with which they disagree. It's something that Professor Peter Goldsworthy from Bond University observed in the paper this week. Is it because our universities are too homogenous in their worldview, Justin?
Look, there's a real difficulty with academic freedom, and that's come from a number of places. Certainly funding and pitching for grants from government encourages a consistent ideology, and that doesn't allow for a free and flowing debate on campus because there are real financial impacts to what academics say. From my own time, when I was on my university council as a student representative, it was certainly clear that while there may be some discussions that more liberal at the water cooler, when it came to public statements, there's certainly been a chilling effect over the last 10 years on that debate. And that's really quite concerning because our universities should be places of freedom when it comes to thought and engaging in a contest of ideas, rather than them becoming some kind of hodgepodge, milk-coloured Mao suits.
Now, Sophia, everything seems to cost more under Labor, and today Jim Chalmers has told Australians, congratulations, the increase in your electricity bill is going to have a 20-something in the front and not a 30-something in front. It's hardly cause for parade down the Queen Street Mall, but why does everything cost more under Labor?
Well, Amanda, what I have learned is that managing and governing a country is more than a popularity contest, and it takes a lot of effort and takes undivided attention. And to me, I look at the current situation. Where would the Prime Minister go next? It's in Sydney, get in front of the Mardi Gras parade and be a popular Prime Minister that he deems to be. So when the attention is not in the economy, when the attention is not in trying to solve the real problems for the Australians, you have a Labor government that under them, everything is really expensive.
It's a good point, Sophia. Justin, there's some really interesting news out of the town of Ceduna this week. Labor couldn't wait to get rid of the cashless debit card. They called it everything from racist to oppressive. But now residents of that very town, Ceduna, have held a crisis meeting saying that it has contributed to, the abolition that is, has contributed to a spike in alcohol abuse, child neglect and what they call, quote, absolute bedlam. the CDC worked, even if it wasn't trendy. How many people have to be hurt before we accept that the wrong call was made on this one?
Well, Amanda, I think it's another example of this government preferring form and style over substance and meaningful policy. They've gone for a soundbite, and that soundbite has led to real negative outcomes, as you've listed, in remote Australian communities. And it's ironic that the Prime Minister and Linda Burney run around the country talking about hearing an Indigenous voice, but they haven't listened to the voices of people in these communities who benefited from the CDC and now having only a few months.
That is such a good point, Justin. I'm so sorry I have to cut you off there. I really appreciate your contributions, Justin and Sophia.